So, aggressively healthy. This is our, maybe our fifth,
Millions?
sixth
Oh.
week of like aggressively healthy. Maybe
was
eighth
a
week.
million.
I don't really know. But we're on to a new episode with a new character. Who do we have today? We brought on a true star, a local legend. He goes by Christopher Doobie.
Esquire.
But he's been a loyal patron to the gym, involved in all of this, and a good friend. So, from a different perspective, I think life is always looked at. And it's always good to hear what people have to say.
I have proof of that.
I approve. Oh, this is an oldie but a goodie.
Nice.
So, I don't know, like this, I had to take it out from under the glass
From under.
at my house, but it's even got the, remember those days?
That's a 2014 vintage.
Beautiful.
And,
Mint condition. Slightly
look
worn.
at the seams on that.
And well,
It's a good stitch right
I
there.
think they come a little worn, but then the wearing of it makes it even better.
It's
and
called distressed.
distressed. And you can
Distressed.
tell that.
No, that's what it's
Like
called.
me, yeah.
That's
You know why
def-
do you know why I'm distressed?
Why are you distressed?
I'm in this corner. There's swords right there. I got two muscle-bound freaks on either side stuck in this
True
table.
romance poster behind
I think I'm here until you say I can leave.
Well, yeah, then that's how it works. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Origins,
I'm a
little
Capricorn.
life story.
I'm a Capricorn.
Walks on the beach.
Like to dance. Big into tennis.
That is a big deal.
Yeah. No, I'm a lawyer here in New Haven. I've been a RTS client for like 13 or 14 years. I think I was one of your original RTS Health clients.
Right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. And you had a hand in saving my life.
We'll get heavy real fast.
Yeah.
But honestly,
No, I think that kind of covers the waterfront for now. I live locally. I enjoy being here.
and we love having
People
you.
might recognize him from various football and lacrosse fields.
Yes.
Everywhere.
I Friday nights, in the fall, I referee high school football. I try criminal cases, representing people charged with criminal offenses, which brings me to something I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
So people say to me, it's a good lead-in, I think.
Yeah.
How do you defend people when you know they're guilty?
Right.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
How do you counsel people in their health when you know they're not going to take care of themselves?
That's actually a great question. So, I mean, Mike probably goes through it the same way, but there's a very interesting blend of people that come see me. So, there's ones that really have no idea that they're not trying, that they might not be doing the right thing. Just kind of ignorance is bliss, but they want to do it. Then you have the people with the right intent that say they want to do it. They really want to try, but it's a little bit of a difficult task. And then you have the people that are in it to win it. They'll do everything you say, buy in, and full go. The problem is a lot of people in the modern era just want to pay for health. So independent of price, whether it's $5 or $5,000, in their mind, the more I pay in, the more I'll get out. And I think they've been trained like that with the system as it is, because
We have the same thing as lawyers.
yeah, so like if I buy into the healthcare system, I'm healthy because I have health insurance. But that actually doesn't work in this industry. So it is hard to sift those people out. And the way I handle it is this. Part of why I did this is because what we're creating is a community. And the driving factor isn't God or some theory or some thing we're making up. The true guiding factors are health and foundational health. And I think from a perspective of behind my desk, I am able to be a little bit excluding to certain people that don't want to participate, because it takes full cooperation of both sides. So if you don't really want to buy in and you're only there just to pay, I don't think it's a good candidate. But the reason I still want to help those people is because some of them will turn, and some of them will allow me to defend them against entropy. But they have to be bought into the process.
Yeah. The reason I say it is what dawned on me about it was you've told me some stories. We can detail what I went through last year a little bit, but you told me some stories about patients that you've like operated on that were, in your prior
Life.
career,
Yeah. Prior to the pivot.
the unbearded Marco. And they were in such bad health, you didn't even know if they could survive the surgery or if
Yeah.
they'd recover from it. And I think that's a telling thing because there's a lot of like things that go wrong in people's lives normally.
Yeah.
The fact that they don't turn it around at some point. I mean, that's the thing I see a lot
Yep.
with repeat offenders or people that can't stay out of trouble for very long. And there's a real equation with what you guys do for people with their health. It's almost the same mindset.
And I think it is. Truly, the ground floor on that is probably Mike, because how many people come in here and are like, I want to get healthy. I'm going to lift. I'm going to get in. What's the one thing that usually they're like, maybe I won't do it?
Part of it is honestly making sure they understand that the transaction doesn't guarantee them the result.
Yeah.
You know, like, because everything that we do transactionally usually is instant. You know, you buy shoes, you buy a food, you buy whatever, but
Yeah.
when you try to buy health, like it's less at the transaction or point of sale,
Yep.
and more about you're buying into the commitment of the act
Right.
of getting healthy, and then when you get healthy, you can't stop.
Yep.
So when you look at it from like a instant gratification value situation, it's not great for someone who just wants the thing.
Right.
And it really then divides the people up from being interested in health and then being committed to health. And that's where you try to filter those people out and help them in the ongoing process of pursuing health, not
Right.
achieving health.
I don't think you've quite gotten over the target of what you're good at here, though. There's like a part of all of this that I think gets missed if you're here in a place like this all the time. It can be when you know you're sort of feeling shitty and you don't know what to do about it. Walking into a gym, even I mean, maybe I shouldn't name names, but even like the $10 a month ones is a hugely intimidating thing. I mean, if you're in your earlier mid 30s and you used to be relatively active, and then you started a job and you work a lot, and the diet went to hell, and now you have little kids and you got a house that always needs, something repaired, and you're going to basketball tournaments and grocery shopping and folding laundry, and then it's 5 years later and things have really hit the skids.
Yep.
Just starting again, like jumping jacks, like
Yeah.
and here I think it's like, I mean, I don't know if I'm a great one to speak for it right now because this is the only place I've been for almost a decade and a half, but I think the thing is that you come here and it's you just naturally start people at the right level. Like it's really there's no programming I've ever seen here. While there's sometimes similar to other people's, you account for the fact that somebody can do it but hasn't in a while versus never has versus this is a college athlete or a pro athlete. And I think that's the thing that is the hardest thing to impart to people that don't know what facilities of gyms like this and healthcare people like this can provide. It's really like the hardest thing to impart because you don't have any experience with it when you're on the outside coming here. And then you get here and you're like, well, I mean, a month in, I'm like, wow, I feel pretty good. And I didn't even know what a basal metabolic rate was a month ago, and now
Yeah,
I
right.
do. I don't know what macros are. I mean, what's a carbohydrate? It's ice cream sundae, right?
Yeah.
And all these little things sort of get imparted to you just through osmosis being here. And it's a nice place. But
I mean, my own personal experience when I went through the whole like residency, working like an idiot, overworked, underslept, but still really providing great health care in the middle of the night model. And I re-entered the gym after years of athletic
how
performance.
bad you feel?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, I came in and in my brain, I was like, I'm going to clean and jerk and blah, 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 blah. Mike was like, you're not going to do anything.
Exactly, yeah.
And he handed me to Nick. I was like, wait, I know. Like, I grew up with Mike. What's he doing? He gives me to Nick. And I was like, then I got it.
Yeah.
I started with like the most minor things, but I bought in. And I remember people making fun of me a little bit. They're like, you're on the bench, like moving your arm with 3 pounds and you're doing weird walking things. But all it did is it set you up to build and that foundational building block to move forward, which I think we really did pretty good job of consolidating that in terms of the healthcare model, because we can do the same thing in medicine with the training, with the mindset. Because a lot of people come in here a true expert in their field. And I had one of the most amazing experiences relative to that. Actually, just yesterday, I spoke to the CEO of a giant company who's out of state. And we interacted well, and we became trusting of each other. And he became trusting enough. He's like, I want in. And he's like, I'll fly out there quarterly, come to Tweed, we'll come to your office, whatever, and that's it. I said, that's really awesome. And he's one of a couple people that might entertain that idea. So what it did to me was it then allows me to take care of him with the best ability because he's totally bought in. Now, he's such a high-level performer that he knows if he finds the right professional in their field that he can pay to worry about all the things that he would take time away from his primary occupation, which is running businesses, it's going to detract from his life. And he just bought in. And I think that buy-in is cool because it's very difficult to get somebody at such a high level of education, intelligence, high performance to trust somebody in another profession. But I think he is at such a high level, he realizes that like
what he doesn't know
exists around, and he's
it takes a certain kind of mentality, and there's a very deliberate intelligence some people have, but most struggle with or don't have, to go, shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot about what I know. I don't know very much about what I don't know. And the sense I'm getting is Marco or Mike or somebody like that does.
Yeah. And
so I'm going to ride with them.
And the cool thing is somebody like him, and then I have, a 32-year-old who's just starting in the fire department, really active in the exercise world, but maybe not so into the professional world. And they can act the same, but their entry level is completely different in terms of what we do, because that professional could be in significantly worse health than the younger kid, or vice versa. So the same way you enter the gym a little nervous, you don't really know what to do, and Mike and this gym will get you started at the right level. The same thing we can do in healthcare. And I think that's the beauty of this model, right? It is not one size fits all. No. It's our model will adjust to make the size fit all of you.
I think the struggle, though, from my perspective, is that you don't know that those levels even exist to look for them. I think that's like, that was always my experience with RTS itself. Like, you don't know how good the programming and the place is for you specifically, because you don't even know something like that exists.
Yeah.
If you've never flown first class, you wouldn't know how great it is at the front of the plane. Like, it just doesn't,
and
you don't have the experience to know.
And then sometimes the results in this gym, people think there's like weird things happening that are out of the normal, but it's really just professional style training. Now, from your end of it in the gym, what's your take on that in terms of adjustment to people's abilities or where they are in life? And how do you guys approach that as well? Because you could be dealing with all forms of life.
The overarching theme for us, obviously, is to get to the result. And I think, like what you talked about, the other fitness or gym models have one goal, is to get you on a membership. And I'm not against it, right? But it's like when you go there, the menu is membership.
Yeah, and
our
if you
menu
make use
is
of it,
result,
it works.
Right? Like, what do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? You might be coming off a knee surgery. You might have just had some cardiac event. You might be just wanting to lose 25 pounds, right? So it's like, okay, now that we established the goal, well, how do we set up a timeline that's reasonable to achieve said goal? And we're very pointed, because that's what starts the individualization of our process, right? And then we're going to try to fit the nutrition, fit the accountability, fit the training, fit the medicine in the box that they have presented to us, rather than putting them in our box.
Yep.
Right. And that like is just fundamentally different. And I had 5 consults this week, and everyone had a different goal. Yeah. Imagine that, 5 different so I couldn't say, hey, just sign up for the membership. We'll run your credit card at the first of every month for $29.99, and everyone's going to get exactly what they want.
We waive the entry fee, the initiation fee.
And
if you sign up
today, today,
yes,
right?
Yep. I think though, like, again, you're so close to it, you probably don't see it. But I think the thing that, and I don't know how this translates into something people in the world would know they don't know, but I've had one injury since I've been coming here. and it didn't happen here. It was a
Roughing.
cold. Yeah, it was a cold night. You were having some sort of seminar here, and Scott did something to my right hamstring. It's the only injury that I've had since I've been here. I mean, like the nagging, like aches and pains are different. We could talk about that in a little bit if you want, but like I'm used to leaving the gym in the old days, and like 2-3 days later, your chest still is so sore, like you can't even do anything.
Wrecked.
You go up a flight of stairs, and it's like, and this isn't the way it's supposed to be. And I don't know, I'm 54. I look at other 54-year-old men that they can't, I was on a plane, and there's a fellow around my age, and he struggled to get something out of the overhead rack. Like listen, if you're in construction and you fell 3 flights, I could see it. But just through like letting it
That's just
go,
normal.
yeah,
It's just normal.
and and that acceptance of it. I think things like that are what you get made aware of when you're regularly at places like this. And I'm sure places like this exist in other parts of the country and the world. So there's really, not that big an excuse. But it is strange how people just sort of accept, like, I'm in my mid-50s. Of course that's going to ache and hurt, which is true to a degree. But you start
could
to
it be better? Like that's.
Well,
I think that's.
could it
what,
be better? And
does it beg the question to ask, like,
yeah.
do I have what I want out of my health?
And I don't know what the line is. Like, there probably is a point in life where you lose functionality just because you're decades old is one thing. But the other thing is, like, how much of that are you willing to accept versus, like, you should be, if you're in your 50s, you should be able to get a 10 or 15 or 20 pound bag out of an overhead bin on a plane, absent, like, some catastrophic injury that you've had or, something seriously, I don't want to use the wrong word, anatomically screwed up.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been in decent health, relatively speaking, so there's no reason I shouldn't be able to. So, I would think that the vast majority of the people in their 40s or 50s or 60s should be able to. So it's weird that we just sort of, achy, pain, and I can't get this. And then I struggle to get a seatbelt on, and I can't reach behind me in the car anymore. And it's like, all these little things.
It's an interesting thing in the United States about like suffering, and the process to get to a result will provide some amount of like suffering and pain and this and that. But I think if you ask like most adults, how would you like to feel? They all want to feel good.
Which probably means different things to different people, is what I'm saying. But there is a basic level of functionality.
Absolutely.
Like if you're alive, and again, taking the outliers out, the people that just can't, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to get out of a house if it's on fire.
Yeah.
That's not a big ask.
Like,
You should be able to walk flights of stairs. You should be able to take the groceries in.
Yeah.
Without catastrophic problems.
But here's the problem.
Caused by them.
I would have patients in the hospital setting, and we would get to the point where it was like, what do you want to do next, right? You are overweight. You are in horrific health. If you don't do something, there's nothing else we can do. But the problem is they've been so...
I can't imagine being told that by a doctor.
Yeah.
I just can't.
They are so trained to think that it's out of their control because the minute they pay for health insurance in their mind, and it's the best trick the health insurance industry's ever played on anyone, they immediately take your autonomy. Your right of choice for healthcare is gone. And my
you think that's the best trick the health insurance industry?
No, but like Hartford Healthcare once was like, they have a choice. And I said, so what if they want to go to a doctor in New Haven? Well, that's out of network. Right. Yeah, buddy. Thanks. Now, the best smoke and mirrors coming is like the Stop and Shop thing. Imagine you can't answer people's primary healthcare issues. Chronic diseases are in the increase. How do you completely deflect? You know what you do? You make a bunch of AI responsible for the primary care because nobody's going to argue with the computer generated what the hell is AI? Artificial intelligence, which I don't really know what that means.
No one does.
Does that mean you're lying?
No one knows.
Artificially intelligent. Think how stupid that statement is.
But no one knows what it is.
Right.
So, yeah.
Organizationally, fine. But medical decision-making, no. So how do you now remove all culpability from the physicians in the hospital practices? You put a booth with a robot that tells them what to do, because the minute they end up in the hospital, somebody's gonna be like, I don't know. That was AI. Like, but we got to operate. It's amazing. And how do you eliminate primary care from being proactive? You get rid of them. Because AI is not going to sit and talk to you like this.
No.
AI is not going to figure out that as a kid, maybe your dad punched you 5 times, and maybe that's part of why you're not acting so perfect, right? We all have something that nobody has explained out loud, that nobody might know about you, that you can get. That's a huge contributor to people's health. But it's this removal of autonomy that gives people no power in their health. Now, I think we empower people here really well, to the point of we're like pissing off a ton of local doctors, and that's awesome, right? And I send emails to these people, and I ask, if you guys have the data telling me we're doing the wrong thing, please let me know. Yeah. Silence. I've asked for them to come on here. I'd love to discuss the data. Yeah. Silence. The problem...
It's a bullshit business model.
It's a bullshit business model. And they have you so locked in because there's no alternative. But I hope our whole goal, which was half of why we did this, was to empower people that want better, right? Like, okay, we're all driving Jeep Grand Cherokees, but we all want the Ferrari.
You know, there's a corollary to this with lawyers, believe it or not. Like that it's the same thing. It's if people have to pay for it, all of a sudden they get very conscious of how much it costs.
Yes.
But if it's something that they don't feel, they just don't care. So if it, like in a typical car accident case, like you don't get paid and we don't get paid unless you get paid kind of model of lawyering,
right?
People will sign up with that all day. But if they get arrested, they suddenly go to the lowest bidder quite often.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing here. It's like, oh wait, this programming for my health is going to cost this much. But they don't put a value in the fact that they're going to know their doctor.
Well, I told one guy who wrote me back a really lengthy email as to why the expense wasn't worth it. So
the expense of RTS Health?
I responded. I said, who's your life insurance carrier? He said, what does it matter? I said, I want to forward them this email.
Yeah.
And what do you think happened? This was supposed to be a HIPAA compliant conversation. I said, what's HIPAA? Your life insurance should know everything about your health.
Yeah.
So if you don't think you're worth a couple $100 here and there, I mean, you think they should pay out $5 million for when you die if you don't even want to invest a couple $1,000 here and there?
I think one of the biggest problems when it comes to selling health is that people have no idea how to operationalize that term.
Yeah.
Like if you said, do you want to be wealthy? Everyone would say, yeah, of course. What does that mean to you? And they'll throw out a number, $10 million, $5 million, 2 houses, whatever. They'll be able to approximate what wealthy is. But health is like, well, what is that?
Yeah.
Is it running a 5K? Is it having a 6-pack?
I could tell you.
I
could tell you exactly what it is.
I guess that's going to be my next point. Is it's not until the old cliche is when you lose your health do you realize how much its value it is to you.
Yeah. So what's pretty interesting? There's all versions of this, but I got a call. Maybe it was last week, and somebody who we had started on hormone replacement. And the wife called, and it was like, something's wrong. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, he is normally just on the couch and doesn't bother me and whatever. He's irritable. He wants to go outside and he won't sit still anymore. And I said, he's fucking alive again.
Yeah.
Alive. And I had to explain to her. I was like, I don't know how to say this, but you've been living with somebody who didn't have the energy to move. And now that cooped up isn't working anymore because he feels alive. Mm-hmm. So the transition naturally was like, well, maybe you should jump on board too. And she did, which is awesome. But it's a different version of health, right? Like nobody really knows. Or the menopausal woman.
I don't think people associate that with being healthy. Is the
problem.
That's
why I'm saying the term health is so amorphous to people. Like they just know sickness.
Yeah.
That's it.
The absence of it is.
And then they're like, maybe I should do something about my heart attack.
It's almost like an atheist not admitting to knowing God, right? Like if you only believe in sickness, then health has to exist. Like if you don't believe in something, you clearly believe in the void. So I think that actually hits the nail on the head. I don't know how we haven't thought of that before. That's a pretty cool statement. Like everybody knows.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Everybody knows sickness.
It's the source.
It's the source, but they just don't know health.
I say this all the time is like we learn best through contrast.
Yeah.
the stove's hot. The stove's hot. It's like, oh, well, let me feel what hot is, and I'll never do it again. People know, like, and usually they have moments in like these other domains in their life where they're like, I remember not having $1 for the thing I wanted to do.
Right.
But like, it's not until you're really older where you have this really terrible event or a car or something that like is like, I never want that experience, that feeling, that emotion again.
Yeah, which
they pursue health.
Which I think maybe I'll just get this out there because I've never really talked about it. And maybe it's part of why I'm a little numb with some of my sympathy. I have a ton of sympathy. I have a ton of empathy, but I also have relativity because, I mean, I grew up with a human in my house who couldn't walk, who couldn't eat, who had to wear a diaper, who we had to pick up out of bed, who we had, right? Like a fully handicapped brother my entire life. So like the contrast to me was instantly obvious. And then the ability to see what health is, right? Like, because the minute I could get up out of bed that I had to go help somebody else do that, I realized like, holy shit.
Didn't take it for granted, yeah.
And I didn't, which I took to the other extreme because in my mind I was like, well, then I got to live every day like I'm going to die tomorrow. And that got taxing too. Like I took the wrong road with, started drinking a little bit, partying too much because I was like, if I don't enjoy today, I might end up like that. But then I clicked and realized like, well, actually to not end up like that, I just got to stay healthy. But that relativity in some people's worlds allows them to learn from that example. But most of us don't experience that. So the only time you can is when you are actually in a bed, laying in the hospital and like, oh my God, this is what sickness really is.
Yeah. That's what happened to me last year. Yeah. I don't think I ever.
Yeah. You had a big experience. We went real deep right away.
Yeah. That's fine.
I mean, we could talk about it a little bit if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
I'll give a little precursor. You were a member of the gym for a really long time. Myself and Mike wanted to start healthcare, and you had trusted Mike with your exercise, nutrition. You felt great, so you trusted his recommendation to come see me. We saw each other, and then we'll take it from there.
I remember like some physical threat you made. I don't remember all that other stuff. So I think so. This was last April.
Yep.
You looked at some blood work of mine. I think it was last April because it was one before that where my PSA. Yeah, or maybe
the first time we met, your PSA was slightly elevated.
So does your listening public, I guess viewing public too, know what PSA is?
PSA is a prostate-specific antigen, so it's released from the prostate gland normally in a certain minimal level, but then sometimes cancer cells, if they're active, will make more of it.
Yeah. So what is it now? August, so 16 months ago, I never heard of PSA.
Yeah.
Or it was a public service.
How many times have you been to your PCP?
I go
to a doctor's office, and you've never heard that
annually.
Yes,
annually. So, I was 53 at the time. My PSA came back the first time on blood work you looked at elevated. That's the first time I'd ever heard anything at all about PSA. My normal doctor, who I like a lot, I have no personal problem whatsoever, never ran it. And then at that point, I was on hormone replacement. You did the follow-up blood work, 3 months or so later, and it was still elevated, but not as elevated. The first time I think it was 6.1. The second time was 5.2.
Yep. For
people to know, anything over 4.0 is worrisome.
Yep.
It's not diagnostic of anything, but it's like first base in the sort of holy trinity of the things they check. So I have not had any physical symptoms at this point. We can certainly joke about this now. I never had any sexual dysfunction. I never had any urinary problems. A lot of the things men see when these problems are really rearing their heads.
And otherwise a very active person.
Right. And with the hormone replacement, I felt great. I mean, it was just, but thank God I was on it because you caught that. No one else had. I don't know how detailed you want to get, but a normal part of a physical exam for a man annually, once you get over like age 45 or so, is a digital rectal exam. I think you guys call it a DRE. And those were always clean. So, I mean, in a sense, I kind of can see how my doctor, my PCP, didn't delve too much more deeply because I have no family history. I had no complaints. There was no reason to check. And there's something out there that's among doctors, not being one, obviously, that says, like, don't look too hard because you don't want to put men through biopsies and needless procedures when it's mere inflammation or an infection. So the second time it came back, you said to me, why don't you just, bring this up to your doctor the next time? You didn't say this in so many words, but if this is the worst thing it could be, you have time. It's not like, this isn't like other forms of cancer, which it turned out to be, where if you don't act like this week or next, it wasn't a green banana situation.
Yep.
So I went to my PCP. I brought her a printout of your lab results, and my PCP looked at it like, what spaceship did you from the future did you fly in off of? And she was like, oh, well, and then she referred me to Yale Urology. There's a doctor down there. There's two that I dealt with. There's a doctor down there, Michael Leapman, Leapman, who I would tell you is at your level, Marco, as a physician and as a doctor. He's part of the Yale network. He works for or with, or however that works with Yale. But I never got the sense talking to him that, can you please hurry up?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have 5,000 things to do today.
Which is
I
awesome.
I don't have this kind of time to explain every stupid little thing.
Yeah.
I never got that vibe at all. Wonderful guy. He sent me for an MRI, which was there's a whole other story about that. I had an MRI on my ankle once that you talked to me about, and that one. And the MRI machine for prostate one is like, the machine is so close to you, and it's like almost an hour long. And I got in the thing. I think it's more the fact that it could be cancer that does you in, but I couldn't stay in the tube.
Yeah, a lot of people get claustrophobic in there. It's kind of intense.
I don't. It was like, I don't really have a claustrophobia problem so much as I think I had like an existential problem. Like, I think I was like, oh shit, like, because to this point in my life, I didn't give any consideration to mortality, to sickness, in my head, I was like 26 years old. I'm going to die one day. Everybody knows that, but not
yet.
now.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I think sitting in that tube, I've thought a lot about it. I was like, I think that's what did me in. It wasn't I've been in tight spaces, don't bother me. I mean, if this one doesn't, I don't know what. And so I told the nurse or the tech or whatever they're called, and she's like, this happens a lot. So I called Dr. Leapman, and he was like, yeah, that happens. I don't know why we don't just do this. And he prescribed Xanax for me, which I'd never taken. And my wife drove me over to the thing, and if you asked her, she'd be like, that's the kindest he's ever been in traffic. Like, he was just, I didn't know if that was him. Yeah, he was like, people were cutting us off, and he just sat there and had the MRI, and it comes back. They rate the lesions they find, if they find any, and it comes back PIRAD, 4 for one of them, 5 for the other. Clinically significant for cancer, it says. And then you get that report. One of the nice things about medicine these days is there's complete access to your own records, right? It's one of the real nice things. It's also one of the most horrific things that happens to humanity, because it's 2:30 in the morning. You get a text message, there's an update on your MyChart, and you open it, and it says clinically significant for cancer.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever read anything about, like, it's reading specific. You see something like that. Like, I remember when the bar results came out, I couldn't believe I saw my own name. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think I was going to fail, but the fact that you passed, you're
It's
like,
real.
oh, is that, yeah. And I saw that, and I remember this like vertigo, and then sort of come to grips with it slowly. And then they schedule a biopsy. Dr. Leapman did this biopsy. I don't know what's with that dude. I swear to you, I don't. But he did a job on that biopsy, which I know this sounds pathetically odd, but the goal is to nail the lesion, which I mean, I don't have one anymore, but if you guys do, your prostate's like the size of a walnut, I guess. Yeah. And he just nailed this lesion. Got these, they call them cores. He pulled these cores out. They tested them, and then they rate the cancer. And I was regarded as like an intermediate risk at age 54.
Yeah.
So, due to a bunch of other factors, Dr. Leapman, who is a surgeon and who is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, couldn't do it based on my timeline. So the head of the department, this fella Isaac Kim, did the surgery. Again, I mean, I've heard this. I've never been a surgical patient in years, but he's a gifted surgeon, to put it nicely. And he did this surgery last July. So came out to be cancer. I had my prostate removed. And that's what happened. In the interim, I could tell you about what Mike did for me. But the thing of it is, I think the thing that caused me to really realize how valuable this was is I don't know that would have got detected.
Sure.
Otherwise, I mean, my PCP wasn't looking for it, and I don't blame her.
No.
I understand why. There's statistical reasons why she wouldn't have been. But I sort of fell through those cracks. And the thing is that the way I was going, if nobody had checked, I would have been one of these guys that was 58, 59, maybe 60 with
pain.
With back pain. All of a sudden there's blood in my urine or there's some sexual dysfunction and I get checked out. And the danger to prostate cancer isn't that it's in your prostate. It's that it spreads to your bones and usually your hip bones, which a guy I know had it happen with.
Yeah.
And it metastasizes into your ribs and your shoulder. And the long-term outcome of that, while that can be containable and treatable, it's not necessarily curable at that point. So I could have had I not known you two, could have very easily been one of those guys at 60, 61, 62 with a catastrophic cancer problem, which could have been caught in my early 50s, which you guys did. And, I would have been really bad off. The end outcome of metastatic prostate cancer is, extraordinarily painful. But my father's alive. He's 80. My mother's alive. She's 79 or 80 now. I wouldn't have had that lifespan in all likelihood without that interdiction. And I think it's amazing. And then the other side I'll tell you is where this unity of the gym and the health part of RTS comes together. At my worst, I called Mike, and I'm like, I got to get ready for this surgery. And he intuitively understood. Yeah, he's a fit enough guy. He can survive the surgery. I can talk about you like you're not here, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's a little less awkward.
Yeah. I'll just do this.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be talking about something another man did for you when you were born in 1971. You're hemming a line. You know? And he knew, listen, the guy had to have the surgery today. He's fit enough that he could. But what I think you detected, Mike, was there's going to be an element of control over my fate that this gives you. And even if it's just an illusion, it's like, at least I'm doing something. There's no way going into this surgery as, fit enough to fight the champ is going to be bad, right? And it was something to do to show that, I cared about me.
Yep.
In a way that, I could have gone to the spa a lot and got a bunch of massages. Would have had the same effect. I could have gone to some concerts or could have taken a trip or something like that. But I came here 5-6 days a week. Andrew or somebody opened up the place on a couple of Sundays. I was like a maniac about it. But then I got to this surgery and I was like, I've done everything I can do.
Yeah.
We had the early detection. And if it wasn't for this unity of all that, if I had to go to a $15 a month gym and go, I just got diagnosed with this cancer. Can you get me fit enough to withstand this surgery?
Yeah, we have this membership.
Yeah, they would have keyworded some sort of thing and said, this is the program for that. And it wouldn't have been, I can't, I can, but I can't deadlift. You can't put that in my program. We don't have I don't know what leg whips are. Oh, well, there's a leg whip seminar every other Thursday. Come to, know, and those little things, I think, what did it cost? It cost money.
Right. That's exactly right. And the interesting thing to me is that is the approach to any surgical intervention we should always have, right? There are times where you don't have the time. But when you do, one of the number one indicators of surgical outcome is an albumin level, which is a protein found in your blood that is directly indicative of your nutrition levels, like muscle mass. All of it matters. And your recovery, yet a little rough, right? Because it hurts and it's surgery, and you essentially got through it, maintained body weight, maintained muscle mass, and you're back in the gym.
Yeah, I was surprised at how, I mean,
Oh, it's
I don't know what I was gauging it against, but I was surprised at how, relatively speaking, quickly,
yeah,
after this surgery, you have a catheter.
yeah,
I'd never had a catheter before in my life.
yeah,
So what I did there was I just said, I'm going to like abuse the shit out of this situation. Like you're walking around, with like a bag of urine
Yeah.
attached to you at all times. And I kept it a couple extra days. They were a little concerned about some possible inflammation. You're already miserable, so what the hell? Because of the quality access to Dr. Kim and Dr. Liebman that I had, it's the same way I feel about you two. Like if you guys said you ought to do this or you ought not to do that, I'm not gonna go. I don't think Mike knows what the fuck he's
Right.
talking about. Like that's how I felt about those guys. And Dr. Kim was like, it can't hurt to keep the thing in there an extra couple of days. I did. So I wound up watching, like my son gave me some recommendations of shows on Hulu.
yeah.
I read like 8 books. I perfected the art of the 12-minute walk. Like I had this like thing in the road near my house where I would say like, I want to see if I can get to that spot and then go a little bit past it and then see if I can get to there in 12 minutes.
Yep, yep.
And these little gains. But I don't know what I could gauge it against if I hadn't done all this or you hadn't you can always second guess those things, but I was back pretty quick.
Yeah. And the crazy part is also, and I know what some people are going to think, like, well, Marco says hospitals are bad. So that is
Hospitals are not bad.
No, that is the perfect use of a hospital.
If you break a leg,
Yeah.
if you have a heart attack, and you're lucky enough to live where we live,
Yeah.
where these hospitals are right down the road, you're going to get excellent care.
Yeah.
But it's just like if it's an auto body shop, we can fix dents
Yeah.
like crazy.
And you want to
But-
stay out of it, right? So
but the oil changes, the brake
Yes.
jobs, we don't really do that. You got to buy in on that on your own, which is a weird thing.
which is the gym,
Yeah.
right? Which is how we get people so they don't end up in the auto body shop.
It's an overarching thing, though. I think, Marco. Like that's the thing. I think it's the same with people with like their legal affairs. Like there's a lot of things you should do, but there's some things you have to do.
Yeah.
You as a functioning adult, you should be taking some time to find out how you could feel. I mean, it's a highly subjective thing, but you can come see a guy like Mike and say, I'm trying out for the Philadelphia Eagles next year, and he can, these guys can help you. Or you can come here and go, I'm just tired of my hip always hurting.
Yeah.
And just those little addressing things build into other things. But the bigger part of it is that you don't know those things. I think that's the heart. I mean, you and I've talked about this a billion times since I've known you. Like, how do you educate the person that doesn't even know they're uneducated about things that really are kind of complicated but basic to us? Like, you don't know that it's not normal to not be able to get something out of a thing in an airplane.
Well, it's like when people sit down, they're like, I'm not a doctor, but, and I'm like, no, yes, I know. So leave out the but.
But you kind of are about your own self.
Kind of. Yeah.
I mean, I know something's wrong.
Self-report.
I know something's wrong.
Yeah. You just can't fix it.
Right.
And I think that's a huge deal. How do you encounter that in the gym? Because, I mean, exercise world is thought to be like 90-minute Power X or whatever the hell that thing is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of the problem with just fitness is that, like, technically it's free. Like, you don't necessarily need a gym to be fit. Like, you can run, you can do push-ups, you can do all these things.
Yeah.
The problem is you don't. That's just how our culture is now. Now, you look back in like the 60s and the 70s when physical education was probably at its all-time high. There was certain criteria and standards that permeated through the culture that like you were fit. Like, there were less fat people and there were more fit people, I should say, right? And they were more active day-to-day stuff, and with their sporting activities or their hobbies, it was a very physical-based or physical-centric culture. Now we don't have that as much, so now we have to subsidize, and part of that is just the modern convenience, where we have to subsidize that physical activity with doses of dedicated or deliberate exercise in our day or in our week.
Yep.
And now, because there is this food consequence that we now face, where we have hyperpalatable foods, hypercaloric states, where it's like, well, now we're fighting against that culture So the exercise becomes more important to offset some of that,
Yep.
as well as to educate people so that they make informed decisions about day-to-day things that can add up and stack up against you
Right.
over decades. I mean,
You
the
like
average
you
person.
like the challenges, though, Mike. I mean, I've known you a while. Like, I don't think you approach the guy trying out for the Eagles and the guy who just quit booze for the first time in 15 years. Like, I think they're the same guy to you. And that,
Well-
like, I think that's the thing that I don't think people appreciate that aren't associated with places like this or don't know people like you guys. Like, there is a thing where it's like, it's kind of the same
Well,
level.
what's crazy to me that people don't realize is you put on the TV and there's some athlete. You know the ones that are making the 10, 20, 100, however many million. You know those. You don't know the 97% of the rest of the league that's on league minimum or somewhere in between.
Right.
So then these people are like, I wish I was a pro athlete. It's like, so their career's 5 years, 6 years on average, maybe. Say you make $400,000, 500, 600, even if it's $1 million. So over the course of 5 years, you accumulate $5 million. After expenses, maybe you leave the league with $2 million in the bank.
If you're traveling, you're maybe not even leaving with
So
that.
whatever, you have 500,000 in the bank when you're done. So then I sit down, my average person who's like, I'm a plumber, I'm an electrician, I'm a this, I'm a that. It's like you realize if you keep yourself healthy,
Yeah.
over the next 40 years, you'll make 8 times that, right? And it's a hard thing because we are, like you said at the start of this entire episode, like we are so instant gratification that we don't really realize that process exists to become just as quote unquote financially rich as these people you're seeing on TV by putting healthy effort into your personal profession.
Yeah.
And I think people undervalue themselves, but that's a societal issue, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but he doesn't. Like,
you
that's
don't-
that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, that's what I mean.
yeah.
You brought up an interesting thing when you were telling your story. Like when you came to me and like what you actually got out of the exchange that we had and the processes that you were going through leading up to the surgery. And we can talk about people, what they know, what they don't know, what they should, whatever. But it really just started with this belief, right? And I'm not trying to get hokey, but there is something to be said. Like you don't achieve anything great without that seed of belief. And I think maybe the best thing that you were able to extract from that was the belief that you had some control in your life.
That was the biggest thing,
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think part of that is like whether the person thinks he knows what healthy is or what he's doing is right. It's that he starts to believe that there's something else out there. Because if you didn't believe it, you wouldn't pursue it.
Yeah.
True, but I mean, I guess what I'm saying though, Mike, is that over the years, like I think you've heard me tell the other people the story, but like I don't know, you were still you had that office below where we're sitting now,
Yeah.
and the place was still like that L shape,
Yeah.
and
Humble beginnings.
very humble for me too. And I had never been a bench presser. I don't know. Do you remember this story?
I remember it was like 6 a.m. You came in, you're like, hey, you there? Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't even during hours.
Right, and yeah, I think you're right, and
I was just doing work in the office.
Yep. And I was like, I have always sucked at bench pressing. It's just not. I don't. In high school, never good at it. Dumbbell bench press, the barbell bench press, the old fashioned strongman thing from the 30s, never good at it. And you were like, why not? I was like, I just suck at it.
I think you said long arms. I was like, bullshit.
Well, yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. But so I go I think the most I've ever done is like 235, and and you were like, I mean that's still pretty good. It's more than your body weight. And I was like, imagine if I could do 300. Like I said, just like I shouldn't have opened my mouth like that. If I knew you better, then I wouldn't have. And you were like, well, why can't you? And I'm like, because I suck at. I just told you, I suck at bench pressing. And you go, it's just math, like that. And then you program this thing up, and then maybe. I'd have to look. Well, it was in the days of the paper thing. So,
Yeah.
And then I think I was like, I think I can do it today. And then it was early in the morning. I said, hey, can you give me a spot? And it was, if you looked out that window, it was like still the L-shaped one, and it was at the
first rack on the
this,
left.
Yeah, and this video's still on my phone. And you gave me a spot, and I did the 300. So that story, and it's a humble brag, but that story is kind of like made it so that I knew coming to that surgery, if Mike Ranfone is the one saying this is what you ought to do,
We got it.
I think he's
The funny thing is the bench press story and the pre-cancer or the pre-surgery story is the same, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's
exactly.
why I guess I'm like,
But it was easy. Like, I don't think I knew enough to know that you wouldn't have known what you were talking about with the bench press thing. But I was like, well, it's the worst that happens. I get to 275. I mean,
Yeah.
But when it really mattered, by then I was like thoroughly convinced that if RTS has this system and Mike says these are the things you ought to do, even if it's not GPS coordinates 100% accurate, we're going to get almost all the way there, and I'll be so much better off. And it just gave me this feeling that like I'm in good hands all around. Like he caught it, you're setting me up for it. I got people at Yale that know precisely what they're doing, and it's the same level of like a pristine care that you guys take at things here down there. I was like, what? I mean, if this doesn't work out, then it wasn't meant to.
Well, and the other cool thing about it is you didn't really leave it up to chance, right?
No.
Because you had already spent enough time with your health and the gym that you had control over it. You felt empowered because you knew going into this, I can handle that surgery.
Yeah.
The minute you leave something out of your control, you then leave it up to whatever chance of outside influence, which I think with a lot of illnesses in the United States, we do that as a medical community almost on purpose.
We do it as lawyers. Like
where it's
when
like, you can't handle this, we'll handle that.
when there's people that have called me and it like a typical one is like a kid gets arrested at one of the area's universities.
Yeah.
And their parents call me, sometimes they're from out of state and he can't go to jail. He can't, all these other things. The power that you have as a professional or as somebody that they're trusting or thinking knows what he's talking about, to say to somebody, he's not going to jail.
Yeah.
Like, he acted like an asshole after he drank, too many, what are they, Trulies or whatever they drink. He acted like an asshole and he lit a garbage can on fire. He acted like an asshole and he spray painted something on I mean, that's not good. I'm not saying that, but he's not going to wind up at Cheshire.
Right.
I mean, the fact that brings people's level of anxiety and stress from something that they're not used to handling to a level, I mean, and like any inflammation, then they go lay down to go to sleep and they go, oh shit, my son could go to jail. And, and then it goes, and then they call you again. And you did that with me. I mean, you did it with me in a different way, but you did that with me. It's like, it's a surgery. The guy does 3 of them a day.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in expert hands. It's going to suck. It's like a bad flight. Like, you're gonna get to Tokyo. You bump around, keep the seatbelt on,
and if the hospital's part of the hospital's issue is if the healthcare system were the right way, none of those surgeons would really be overworked, right? Because we would have so much less on their plate, which is why I don't understand why primary care doesn't want to get a better grip on people's health, right? Like, you don't want a hospital full of operations. I mean, it's great for money making, but it's not great for health.
But that's a cartel. I mean, that's not
the
model between what you're talking about or what we're talking about here and the care I got is so markedly different than what the ordinary American that lives in Iowa or upstate New York that doesn't, where the nearest, like, my in-laws have this place up in the Adirondacks. The closest real full-time hospital is in Glens Falls. It's 45 minutes away. Albany Medical Center is an hour and a half away. I mean, it's just a different thing, but I still don't know how I mean, we just tolerate it.
Yeah.
I have these friends that are like wicked into conspiracy theories. One guy lives down the road from me, and they don't want us. These aren't chemtrails trying to kill us. They want us alive. They need premiums.
Yeah.
They need patients.
That's why they operate.
Right. They need people buying things. So they don't want to kill us off. They want more of us.
Listen, I used to be on vascular surgery rotations. It would start with a stent and a vessel in the leg, and then it would move to like maybe a stent in the lower leg. Then they were starting to stent. There's a guy at Yale that would stent little tiny mini vessels in your foot. Then it's a toe amputation.
What does a stent do?
It opens up the vessel. Then it's a toe amputation, an ankle amputation.
Why does somebody's vessel need to be open?
So the problem is that, right? It's an uncontrolled diabetic, an uncontrolled smoker. It's 99% preventable diseases. Now, I have a question. Do you think at any point in time the Vascular Society of America said to the general population, barrier to entry to get vascular surgery is you have to not be smoking? They could just say that. And then as a smoker...
I can answer you. I didn't even know there was a Vascular Society in America. So.
But then by default, it is on the person to choose, right? So either you quit smoking or you can't have the surgery. Like, just, you have to make some barrier to entry that the people can't just continue to harm themselves with huge safety nets available when there's an out, right? Because it's not like, I am all for, like I've said a million times, I would give my entire life up to somebody who, if they were born with a rare disease or developed a rare disease or something that we don't have a grip on. I'm all about treating that. It's the voluntary shit we got to get rid of.
Yeah. I mean,
and
you
it
can
starts
eat
here.
yourself right into death. I mean, so, you know,
Straight.
I mean, yeah. And who wouldn't want to if you could? I mean,
Food's good.
food is really good.
Yeah.
Which is
I love
another
food.
issue. I mean, think about the choices when you get to a Stop and Shop or any sort of the supermarket or restaurant. Like, you go sit down in a restaurant, you look at the menus. It's not easy to make a good choice.
I could tell you a story about that too. He did
Yeah.
my nutrition for that. Mike did this, this like virtual assaultive level
Yeah.
analysis
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
of how I ate prior when I was getting ready for this surgery. And I wasn't fighting McGregor or something like that, but that's the approach I took. And there was some protein difference. You probably don't remember this, but I still remember the text. And there wasn't enough protein relative to something, and I switched cottage cheese with Greek yogurt. And in my mind, this is the biggest discovery. I like this. I just discovered fucking plutonium in my backyard. And so I text Mike about it. Like, I figured out what it is. The fat's off because of the cottage cheese, and I got more protein with the Greek yogurt. And I did this, in this fit of like, I finally figured it out. And then this poor guy's like probably 10:30 at night. Text him, and he reads this thing. He's like,
Yeah, he just found Greek yogurt.
yeah. So and he texts me back, "Oh, crisis averted." You remember that? Yeah. It's like, but I don't know that. I mean, listen, did that matter? Yeah, I mean, it mattered
All of
a
it.
lot. Because again, it's like now I have even more investment in all this. I had access to somebody that cared about me.
Well,
and I trusted.
If
then
you
that's
think about chronic illness, there are people that will stress themselves into chronic illness, right? Like, if you are an overly stressed, overly depressed, overly anxious person, bad things happen to your system. You entered that operation with like you said, I'm fighting Conor McGregor, right?
which I wouldn't want to do.
Yeah,
Just,
but
I don't
if
know if this is getting out in the
You
public.
were
He's
fighting
crazy.
Come
worse.
find you.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah,
so
but
I don't wanna,
here's the difference.
Yeah.
You were actually encountering a worse opponent. If you got in the ring with Conor McGregor and there's a referee, he's probably not going to kill you.
Sure.
Your disease you were fighting
Yeah.
has no referee, and the only thing it wants to do is kill you, right? Like, the earth is trying to eat us constantly. It doesn't care that you're human with skin and brains. All it wants is organic compounds back in the soil.
You're taking very for granted, though, the help you provided. You specifically, I mean, Mike, in a different way. Like, the fact that I asked you about what this was going to be like a couple times, and you said it's going to be a in so many words, it's going to be a bumpy flight.
Yeah,
The plane's going to land. You're going to be fine. It's going to suck,
but
rain falls in life.
you know
it's
why,
the way
though?
it goes.
Because I knew
Right.
you were in that encounter of a fight against an
I
opponent.
don't think you're crediting the fact that enough, both of you don't do this, and you're just living your daily lives. I get it, but like the reassurance that brings to people, it's the same thing as I was telling you about. I'm aware of the fact because people told me,
Right.
So I'm trying to tell you guys that, like, when you can reassure somebody like that, it takes that I'm gonna just go downstairs
Yeah.
from my bedroom and whatever I can find, I'm gonna eat just to have something to do, to not think about
Right.
what's gonna happen to me. Like, that pressure went way away because you
Yeah.
two guys were like, do these things. The probabilities are it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, and that's another interesting thing about clients we have, way back to the initial statement of like people that pay but don't want to do it. We also have people, I think, a lot of times that won't allow themselves to be reassured and are just
Yeah.
constantly trying
It's
to
hard
find
to
the
do.
problem. It's very hard.
It's really hard to do. I mean, when you get a report with your name and the last 4 digits of your social security number on it that says the word cancer,
It's
it
rough.
fucks everything up.
Yeah.
Like, it takes what you knew and throws it into a blender.
Yeah.
Like it, and here's another weird thing. Like, so I have some friends, when you get to be a certain age, you do, that either have serious diseases that are going to kill them or certain kinds of cancers that are
Right.
virtually untreatable. and I saw one the husband of a woman that I know that's got a really serious cancer problem, and he was like, so "How you feel? How you doing? How you feeling?"
Yeah.
And he, like, hand on the shoulder kind of thing. And at this point now, I was almost like, "Oh, like something wrong? Like, do I have something like And then it dawned on me. I'm like, I basically had like the acne of cancers, like a highly treatable thing that I have like a 12% recurrence rate or something like that now.
Right.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't believe I'm saying now relative to how I felt 15
Yeah,
months
but
ago.
you're also not you don't define yourself as a cancer survivor.
I don't think I had the chance. I mean, it was a sucky, shitty
You
4 or
know
5
why?
months.
You know why? Because that was not the most exciting thing happening in your life.
No, well, that's
You had a lot of other shit going on, and you're not a blame the world guy. So you were like, well, this is just what I got to deal with to get back to what I want to do.
If it didn't work, I would have blamed Mike.
Yeah.
100%.
But it's a confidence thing. I mean, any comments on that with the old exercise thing where you can't really blame the world once you get into exercise?
Well, the cool thing that I'm hearing, and I don't want to just misinterpret your words. I'll just give you like my interpretation of that. So you were able to weather the storm because you committed to an act, not the act itself. And through that, you achieved something. Maybe it was a different mindset, different identity. And because your perseverance to that, you changed for the better.
Yeah.
And then the net result was obviously you're cancer free right now. And but you just went back to doing the things. You didn't, start drinking again, being like celebratory.
Did the things better. Like I was an anxiety panic attack guy before.
Yeah.
Like I would get periodic ones. I was pretty good at like. Bill Burr's got this great bit about like you just like tie the knot on the bag and put it over there and do it later. Yeah. And you deal with it later when it wants to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my problem was it was just like, you know what, just do it. Like, just get angry at yourself, and you can power through anything. And you can power through anything through your 20s and through your 30s and into your 40s. But like that lock that keeps the door from opening, it wears out. And after this whole thing, I was just kind of like, I don't know, I don't get that same. Like I sort of saw what it is on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
And it's not that bad.
Yeah. I mean,
it really isn't. Like you
Right.
kind of just go like, oh shit, that's the worst of the worst. Like,
so the cool thing for you, and I think this is a very pertinent point. I know a lot of people that have been through the exact same thing as you. If you were a body fat percentage of 35 to 40, if you were a diabetic, if you had zero exercise tolerance, if you were cardiovascularly unfit, do you know what that is? Not a walk in the park.
no, I agree.
Right?
But
And you're taking for granted how
I think
tuned up you were
I'm
because
doing what I'm accusing you guys of doing.
no, because you went into that with the Conor McGregor thought.
Yeah.
And you did the work to do it. You weren't just mentally there. You weren't, oh my God, I'm going to go to church and pray every day. No, you were like, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to physically make myself fit. I'm leaving this up to no superpower.
No.
I am taking control of this. Chris Doobie has control over Chris
And-
Doobie's life.
And it really wasn't, I mean,
It was a fine experience.
I could have died. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what I realized. But then I was like, well, I'm gonna one day anyway. So how much of my time am I gonna waste?
Yeah.
On bullshit worries.
More men die of prostate cancer than women die of breast cancer currently.
And I would argue that is unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
Like
in either category, right? Like we have the ability.
and all across the board. Like
Yeah.
my son's in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't mean this about it applies to men and not women, but
Right.
he's in his mid-20s. Not only is he one of my favorite people in the world and a great kid, great guy now, but there's zero reason why he hasn't had like an extensive blood panel done like you do.
Yeah.
That he hasn't had a colonoscopy.
Yeah.
I mean, why not just get baselines for these things?
It's a great question.
When he's 25, and now we know when he's 50 how.
Here's the problem, and I don't know how else to say it because
It's the cartel problem.
It bothered me so much during COVID when that like Every Life Matter campaign came out. I mean, that is complete bullshit. right?
Which
because
part?
the every life matters. Because if it does to me.
Right.
That's what bothered me about the statement. Because if it did to them, think about how much chemotherapy we do. It's the highest net income for most hospitals, right? Like cardiology, cardiovascular surgery, and chemotherapy. Oncology makes piles and piles of money. Each cancer treatment is thousands and thousands and
I
thousands.
can't imagine what mine was, and it was.
But imagine
hospital day.
if you took one person's cancer treatment and you bought like that many screening tests for people in their 20s and 30s.
I don't know how. I don't know the math. I don't know how it's not cheaper to get. No. To get these baseline, like,
because they want to keep a barrier to entry. There has to be a health barrier, because if we got rid of the 90% or 88 to 90% of avoidable diseases, I mean, we put hospitals out of business. I mean, that's my goal. I would love for a hospital to be like, we didn't meet our monthly budget because we didn't operate. Like, I'm out there on a fucking crusade. I don't know. It is what it is. Maybe I'll die trying. Some OBGYN will stab me in a parking lot.
I doubt it.
I hope they don't try me, though. But like,
Why'd you pick OBGYN?
because they usually tend to attack me. And there's a weird dynamic.
OBGYN.
Yeah, because I get a lot of menopausal women that have been seeing their OB for years and years. We do stuff. I just had a story this morning, okay? Woman I take care of, who now feels incredible, went to her yearly OB checkup last year. I started on hormone therapy. She had asked this OBGYN about 3 years ago, what about my hormones? And that person was like, you don't want to do that.
Stuff will kill you.
It'll
You'll get
kill you.
breast
It'll make you
cancer.
feel like shit. Yeah. So she goes in, and the doctor says to her, you look great. Like, what have you been doing? Anything different? And she didn't tell her. She's just like, no, I'm not doing anything different. The woman's like, oh, thank God you didn't start that therapy. I told you it would have been the wrong thing. You did the right thing. Look how good you feel and everything. So the woman said to me, like, it's insane. Like, she laughed out loud when she left the office. But that's why. And it's very difficult to spend your
Little
whole...
cloak and dagger on
Oh
your...
my God.
I mean, it's very hard to spend your whole life telling somebody something, and then all of a sudden, 15 years later, you're like,
Whoops.
I was wrong. And that relationship clearly doesn't exist, but it would if they had a better relationship. If me and you, how much time we spend together medically, if in 2 years I'm like, Chris, here's the thing, that vitamin, let's whack that. New data came out. That was the old data because I'm data driven. We can do that. They could do the same if they had the relationships. Be like, ladies, we're so sorry.
The relationship's the whole thing.
That's it.
Otherwise, I'm like, this guy's changing. This guy's full of shit.
Yeah.
But if Marco calls me and goes, that vitamin, I think my vitamin K was really high or something like that in that last one. Like, that doesn't mean anything you say now, and then you call me next year. Your vitamin K is still high, and that can cause you to grow a second head.
Right.
We
Let's
should take
stop that.
Yeah, let's stop that now, right? I would go, if Marco's saying that,
like admit your mistakes right now. That Women's Health Initiative.
It's not a mistake, though. That's the problem. Things have evolved. We know, this dude. It's a long story that I'll make very short, but he's like, in our day, because he's a year older than me, we had to get 4 immunizations to go to public school.
Yeah. And
he has a granddaughter that's starting in schools, and she needs, I think, 7 or 8 or 9 or something like that. And he's like, what's changed? This is outrageous. Well, what's changed is science. Like, we now can stop things from happening that are catastrophic that we couldn't have stopped in the 70s. And that's good.
It is very good. And
like, we can fly planes with
here's the difference.
Computer. I mean, everything's improving.
The reason the Women's Health Initiative is different. Here's the difference.
Than men's, you mean?
Well, they did this big push for breast cancer in 2002. Here's the difference. The data from that data set is what told them to tell every woman in the country that you're going to get cancer from estrogen.
So it's the same as testosterone with prostate cancer.
But they reviewed the data again recently and found out, oh no, we misinterpreted the initial study.
So it's the same thing as testosterone with prostate
cancer.
Cancer.
The problem is that initial study, the data set told the story. It was a conscious decision not to share the information. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
That to me is like collusion.
Of course.
That bothers the shit out of me.
Yeah.
So it would be a really good moment if the head of the OBGYN society or something just came out and said, sorry guys,
things have evolved.
We fucked up. I lied, we misinterpreted. Just say it. Just admit it. And it's okay.
Well, I think it's an evolution. I don't think it's like
Look, here's what they did.
It happens in the law.
1 + 1 = 3.
Sure.
That's what
and
they
then
did.
we've done more work on it. We realize it's 2.
Correct.
So things have evolved. We know more now. I mean, it's the same thing about my immunization story. Like we can prevent contagious or deadly diseases now that we couldn't have when I was in 2nd grade.
But I mean,
it's inherently a good thing.
Think
so
about it. Even
you're more credible when you say, "I know things now I didn't know." If you call me and you're like, "Chris, remember last year I told you not to worry about the vitamin K thing?"
Yeah.
There's these 3 studies. One's from, this is what you do. So I don't know if you know you do this. There's this one study I read from New Zealand. There's this one from the University. Does this sound familiar? University of Quebec. And there's this guy I know who's doing this cutting edge research at Northwestern.
Sure.
And vitamin K levels like that, can cause this. We ought to address it.
yeah,
Well, because I know you
right.
and I know the depths of your relative insanity when it comes to this stuff, I would go, oh, that means that Marco now knows more
About that.
than he did
Yeah.
last year.
Well, it's,
I wouldn't go, Marco's lied to me, or like, I think that part of the narrative is really important because
Yeah.
we should be encouraging people to,
Yeah.
I should be encouraging you to, outside of our personal relationship, to call me and go, what I thought I knew then, I knew in good faith, but now in good faith, I know more.
Yeah.
So this is what we ought to do. That's the saving grace to
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
nobody, you're going to sit on that info if you're going to think,
Yeah.
I think you lied to me.
right.
And that's the catastrophic part that I think you're talking about.
We talk about this a lot. The cool thing is our like platform of approach is bulletproof. We're not trying to reinvent religion. We're not trying to reinvent some belief in a thing that we do that's weird and you got to stand. We're actually just telling people like, hey, balance your vitamins. Hey, balance your nutrition. Hey, let's make sure your labs look good and let's make sure we exercise, that we build our smaller muscles, we build up to the bigger things, and then you progress. It's really a foundational approach. We've essentially not reinvented the wheel. We've just like taken some of the spokes off, taken the cards out of the spokes. We've gotten rid of the dust, and we've like, here's the wheel again, guys.
Yeah.
The wheel we invented 30 years ago where it was like you were eating, or 100 years ago where you ate everything out of the ground, your meat was not processed. Like, let's do that. And we don't have to do the paleo. It's like, no, you can do that and integrate in the modern society.
Yeah, right.
Like, we don't try to get people to do weird things. We just want you to pay attention to what's going on. I mean, exercise world, that change in theory and approach to exercise, I mean, how's that changed over time?
Well, is exactly what you talked about. It's like we just know more about how things work. Like you think about exercise science, relatively underdeveloped industry until the last 10, 15 years, where now there's a plethora of research. There's universities that are conducting these reviews and developing literature. It's like, oh, well, that was actually wrong.
Right.
The way that we thought about it.
A dude like you actually reads those things and knows about them. That we have that in our society now. We didn't have that 15 or 20 years ago, where a fellow like you could come along and even knew that if there even is a University of Calgary, that they did this study about hip cars.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I remember you first telling me about those. Like, that's it's pretty amazing that there's like pros like you out there
in
that
any
know
industry, in any field. The scariest statement is, well, this is how we've always done it.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we would be like, well, you don't have to do bloodletting anymore. Like, I mean, imagine that if we
One of the old kings of England got migraines. You know this story?
No.
And
Vitamin B2
pulled his teeth out.
fixes it.
No. So he was the king of England, and in those days, that was like the head mafioso of the world. He owned everything.
Yeah.
And he's getting these debilitating migraines. So summon the finest doctors that are his subjects anywhere in the world and bring them here tomorrow. And they did that, and the way they treated the king of England for his migraines was to drill holes in his head to let the pressure out.
Makes sense.
And if you did that now, I think I'm a lawyer. I think I could say you'd be in big trouble.
Yeah.
And and things have evolved. Like if I had migraines and I called you, Marco, and you're like, well, you come on down to the office, I'll just drill 3 small holes. It'd probably be the last time we talked.
Yeah.
So things have evolved. Yeah.
Well, 100%. And I'm all about that. Here's my only gripe that I'll sit on. And we don't have to argue it anymore. They didn't reanalyze the data. Like, the data set was the data set. They just said, oh, we forgot to tell you this part of it. I'll leave it at that.
No,
That's my only
you-
gripe. I am all about reanalysis.
You know way more about that than me. I mean, you two both do. So no question. I'm just saying, like, the relationship
Yes.
that you have with the professional, your accountant, your
Yeah.
architect, your home builder,
Is
your
everything.
lawyer. If a guy's working on my house that I know and I trust, and he's like, Chris, we gotta this beam's rotten. It's
Yeah.
gotta come out. It's gonna be a big job. If I trust him, I'm gonna go. I don't know.
So you know what's one of the craziest things for me? I've been in the boating world my whole life, and this is a relationship story. And I've dealt with like a lot of engine. Like me and Mike used to go out on our boat, and I'd have to like take the top off. This is when we were 17. I'd like fuck with the engine. We'd
top
get
of the
started.
boat?
No, like the hood on the engine. We like engines are an important.
No, it was a
piece.
joke. I was asking which top. Yeah.
It's an important piece to the boat, right? So now as you get older, you start taking your family out, whatever. So you have mechanics that might work on your boat. You have to like inherently say to these people, because they can bill you whatever the hell they
Yeah.
want. I got an older boat, right? Because I don't want to break the bank. It has a lot of things. So I now have a guy that truly I can say, what do you think I should do?
Yeah.
He actually, I almost have to force him to do more because
He's
he's
worth
like,
his
well,
weight.
I could like save you some bucks here. I'm like, well, no, I don't want to be in the middle of the water and like my kids look at me and be like, why is the boat not moving,
I
right?
hate you, Dad. Yeah.
But it is truly a relationship. Like with Mike, with you, with whomever, you develop these situations where when they tell you something, you just buy in. Like I'm going to do yoga tonight because I've never done it. I got to try it. And I got laughed at because I called Mike and I was like, what do you think? You think I should go do it? Because I want to make sure it's not going to like totally fuck me up or hurt my body or it's something I shouldn't do in the phase of training. He gave me advice on what to do.
Mike did.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to listen to it because I don't want to have the outcome that he's like, you don't want this to happen. But that's what it is.
Hold on. You've really piqued my curiosity. What advice did Mike Ranfone give you about going to yoga?
He's just like, don't go too hard.
Don't overdo it.
Yeah, 'cause
like
I'll
classic.
Overdo it.
Like
Classic. I
Marco.
lift. I'm
Classic.
strong.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll go to yoga.
Right.
I could do a handstand. Yeah. So, but the point is that relationship exists. The other, I think, coolest part, and this is not a plug for the gym, it could be anywhere in the world, but you got to attach yourself to people that are where you want to be and people you trust. Because in a community like this, lawyers, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, glass guys, we got a ton of stuff here, right? And the cool thing about that is you spend enough time with people in a community setting that you then develop that relationship.
Hell yeah.
And that's how you learn to trust people, I think.
That's what happened to me with the doctor, Dr. Kim and Dr. Lehman. I'm telling you about.
Yeah.
Like I would try. I mean, I would rob a bank for those two
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know, yeah. That's the whole thing. I mean, and I really like that relationship part is what is what's missing in this world these days. I mean,
And it's a forced lack of it, right? Because right back to my entire agenda in medical life is administrative corporate medicine has taken over. Yeah. It's so top heavy that to feed the retired 56-year-old executive who was the CMO of a hospital system, right, that I just watched retire after like dealing with his stupidity, and now he's like off to the sunset and just left in trails, but the hospital didn't get new beds or, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if you're like I said this on a post, I know I made it. I don't give a shit what my bank account looks like. I truly don't. All I care about is if I'm around a bunch of really rich people that I help maintain their wealth financially, socially, whatever it might be, mentally, I'm going to feel the same way, right? Like if I go sit in a jail cell in jail, I will probably act like a prisoner. I will eventually figure out like, I got to survive in here. But if I go sit amongst a bunch of CEOs of companies that are making $8 million, $10 million a year, I'm going to associate with that and start acting like that. So when you're in a community that's health driven, that is motivated to be autonomous, be better in whatever you're doing, you become part of that. Yeah. Now it's cool to have a leader who started this place, right? Like I didn't start this place, Mike did. And some people in the doctor world are like, you'd go into business with a guy who owns a gym, he's just a trainer. It's like, asshole.
Yeah, but that's somebody that doesn't know. That's my point.
Well, this
like,
is the problem. And he
built
built such a community that I actually felt pretty honored that he's willing to involve me in that community.
I would have too. But I mean,
it's two different.
He's not one of these. Again, I'll talk about you like you're not sitting right there, but he's not like standing near you with a clipboard, like counting your reps.
No, but it's
that's what I think
Yeah.
this guy you're talking about is thinking of.
But the cool thing about it that it exposed to me, he didn't even know it, is like he invented the healthcare system that we're trying to do, right? Because he invented the community of people buying into his philosophy of trying to maintain your health, being autonomous. And then all he did was be like, oh shit, let's plug in the doctor. And now it's a full circle. I think we're almost done, huh? What are we at, an hour? Oh, yeah,
Wow.
we'll tear it up. Well, Doobie's a big talker.
Another 10 minutes.
So I would say, I mean, it's been a
Are you-
pleasure.
are you
Doesn't
fit
sound
enough-
official.
Are you fit enough to do another 10
No, we
minutes?
can't. We got to cut it. We
10 minutes?
officially had a wonderful episode. It's been a pleasure. Any closing comments?
Albumin?
Albumin.
Albumin?
It's a big deal.
What is it?
So it's essentially a marker of nutritional health. And then there's a thing called pre-albumin, which is a more acute, like day-to-day you can follow.
And what is testosterone?
Hormone and androgen.
What's free testosterone?
Even better. Well, when it's high, it's even better.
What is percent testosterone?
That's all we got, folks. God bless. Until next week.